So Vanessa, for the Connoisseurs Club, we decided to venture into deep Napa. This is an insider's wine, but Napa Valley as a whole, let's talk about like the importance that it has in the world stage of wines.
I mean, Napa Valley Cabernet, like you said, I mean, you can't know anything about wine and not have at least heard of Napa Valley Cabernet, and hopefully you've tried it, and you will today, of course. But also, we live here.
We call it home, and we get to see it every day. See the mountain ranges, see the soils, the climate, the Mediterranean climate that's pretty unique in the world.
Exactly, it's everything you mentioned. So fascinating. So the whole Wine Access Wine team lives in Napa Valley, and as Eduardo said, it's a really unique region for so many reasons. It's very well known, but in fact, you know, California as a state makes up, I think, 84% of wine made in the United States, but Napa Valley is only 4%.
It is
for such a well-known name.
Absolutely.
It's a tiny region, right? It's like
important.
30 miles long and 5 miles wide,
and we're talking about 500 wineries, or at least brands. I believe, around there.
And it has very interesting climate, as you mentioned, right? Because it's a Mediterranean climate, which is pretty rare.
It's only about 5 in the world, right?
Right, for growing vines. And we have unique soils here. Not just are they unique, but there's so many different types.
Absolutely, the diversity. You're talking about mountain that are created by volcanic and maritime. You find like on top of certain hills, there's like seabeds.
Yeah, I think we have 100 different soil types just here in this small valley.
It is one of those reasons. The other thing is the diurnal shift, right?
Yes.
So you have very warm days, very cool nights.
Yes.
And the grapes love this.
So they get that great California ripeness, but also the freshness from the cool evenings. And another factor is, of course, the proximity to the San Pablo Bay. So we have all that fog when we all get up in the morning and it's foggy, and then by the afternoon it's blue sky. But that fog, again, it can kind of delay ripening, right? So you get the plushness and the richness, but also the vibrancy.
Totally. This wine in particular, we're talking mountain ranges. So you're talking 2,000 feet roughly elevation, Spring Mountain. A very historically important area. I mean, Philippe Togny and producers like that.
Right.
This is this is a unicorn, I call it. When I first heard about it and we got to taste it, we immediately took all we could. 2014 Luscher Ballard Spring Mountain Cabernet Sauvignon. This is made by none other than John Consgard, which, as you know very well, he is somebody that we look up to in terms of style and winemaking definition.
Yes. Yeah, I think so many winemakers have learned from him and grown because of his expertise. And he's one of those people you see them, in a room and everyone kind of gravitates toward him and wants to ask him questions.
Larger than life, huge in the arts world and the music. And actually, that's what tied him up. The producers, they were filmmakers, retired in Napa. Their kids went to school with John's kids. This is a very Napa fabric story, if you will. Yeah. And then he advised them and made their first vintages of Cabernet Sauvignon.
And speaking of vintage, this is a
2014. You're talking
vintage.
Textbook vintage.
Yes, yeah. I think it's a vintage that drinks very well now, but definitely has longevity as well. But it's not a vintage that I think you have to say like, oh, I couldn't possibly touch this for a decade, right? Because it's in our glass, it's open, it's expressive.
Gorgeous.
But does have that balance that I think it would age beautifully if you wanted to hold on to it for a while.
I love it. I love this wine. It definitely captures the right balance. It's like a balancing act, like a Cirque du Soleil, somebody standing on the tightrope. To me, it has the tension. It's got the spice, very exotic spice driven. Yeah. I don't know, crushed like graphite.
Yes, exactly. Rocks. Right.
Really fun.
It's got that fruit, but savoriness as well, and mineral, and kind of all the things.
Chaparral.
Yes, makes for a very intriguing and complex glass of wine that I can think of a number of different pairings. I mean, I think this would go great with, you could go classic steak, right? But I think you could also do like pork tenderloin, something like that. Lamb chops, I think would be great. What would your grandma pair?
Well, actually, speaking of lamb chops, you do a little like a coffee crust in it and a quick grill. Call it a day. I think that the espresso really ties in with.
I like that.
With this
It's a great idea.
And of course, if you just want to call it a day. Just throw a bistecca alla Fiorentina, like a thick porterhouse in the grill.
Don't overthink it, right?
Sit back, just little kind of char on each side.
Yeah.
Salt, pepper. Bring your friends.
Wow.
I cannot wait to do that tonight. We'll definitely be enjoying this with some outstanding
Absolutely.
Outstanding food.
Well, cheers.
Thank you.